Okay, seriously, this is blowing my mind. It's like Attack on Titan mixed with Game of Thrones. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sid Side. It's been a while. Hope you guys are fine. And today we're just going to talk about the latest premiere of King-ohger, Episode 1. This has got to be, I think, the best Sentai premiere that we have had in the past 5 years. And I'm not kidding. So before we begin this commentary, I just want to say that if you like this video, please like it and share and subscribe. Also be warned, there's going to be spoilers for this episode, obviously. So right from the beginning, we have been teased that this series is going to be based on a more fantasy, medieval-like setting. The story is going to be revolving around multiple kingdoms where all these rangers reside in. We're going to unite to fight against a common threat. So right from the start, we can see that they're not in Japan anymore, and they're in this new medieval-like setting. And over here, we can see that they're using the new technology that I spoke about in my previous video, where they're using multiple LED screens in behind to project a different kind of background based on what they need. And in my opinion, their first outing, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty decent. You know, when you watch Sentai and Kamen Rider and a lot of these shows, usually the CGI isn't that great. A little bit subpar, but in this case, it seems that they're starting something out new, and it looks like it's really being implemented in a very, very cohesive way. It looks good. Basically, everything looks good in the show. So the first city that we're introduced to is the kingdom of Shugodam, if I pronounced that right. So this is where basically the strongest kingdom is, the ruling kingdom, where the King-ohger is supposed to be residing in. And over here we can see that this setting is not Japan. Instead, we're surrounded by village-like houses, people and civilians dancing around. Eventually, they kind of pan the camera and introduce the other King-ohgers, which is that the plural of what they're called? Well, then the first one we come across is Kamikiri-ohger, or otherwise known as a yellow King-ohger. Here that she's very haughty, being surrounded by her servants. Not someone that I'm so interested in yet. Then we're moving on to somebody who looks a bit more smarter and a bit more, sort of person, a scientist, if you will, by the name of Tonbo-ohger, who's the blue one. And he's living in a city which is very futuristic-like and bling-bling. Eventually going on to Hachi-ohger, which is the black King-ohger. And he looks to be some kind of traditional oriental nobleman, more like something you would see in samurai warriors. So he seems to be a more cheerful looking guy. I can get along with this guy. Definitely. And moving on to my most favorite one that I'm very much having the hots for at this moment, Papillon-ohger. She's pretty hot. She's very stoic and calm and cool and collected, and she comes from a land of ice and snow, and it's described as she's a normally calm-minded but unforgiving to evil. And more than that, she reminds me of a certain special someone from Attack on Titan, and that's none other than Mikasa. Want to see more of this girl. And then we're introduced to Giri, our Red Ranger, who's having fun with kids in the city, and he's a nice guy. He's a pretty good guy, pretty warm and friendly and all. And he has high hopes for the king. I can't remember his name. Rackles. Let's call him Rackles for now. He's having high hopes that his king is going to deliver justice and equality. And henceforth, we move to the meeting in the castle, where when the meeting takes place, I'm seeing that they're really utilizing the LED structured CGI techniques that they're using. It looks amazing. Everything looks pretty good over there. This quintet or meeting between these 5 kingdoms happen, and apparently I like how the dynamics are. It's not like a goody-goody two-shoes kind of dynamic where everyone just agrees and works together. Apparently there's a bit of tension between these kingdoms. A blue ranger, or the blue King-ohger, he's the one that actually goes against King's Reckless and says that he doesn't want to work together with him. That was pretty cool. And eventually an attack happens, and it's none other than Ragnarok, the main villain of the series, the main villain group and team of the series, suddenly does a surprise attack on the city, cascading them with a bunch of foot soldiers and comet and fireballs and all that. And I gotta say, this attack is very reminiscent of Attack on Titan. If you have seen the show, you'll know what I mean. The ways that the monster just goes through the smoke, crashes the wall coming in, awesome stuff. It looks like a real war zone, stuff like you see in Game of Thrones, but with a little bit lower budget, but it still does its job well. So the city is being destroyed, and eventually these rangers, the 4 of them, King-ohger, except the red one, except King Reckless, who holds a sword to transform into the red King-ohger, actually, all these 4 of them rush into battle to save the civilians, and we can see that a lot of people are getting hurt. And here comes the plot twist. So remember Giri, the potential Red Ranger, who's a civilian, right? So he charges into the castle and is looking for the king, because the king is nowhere to be seen on the battlefield. Apparently there's this huge moment where King Reckless was intentionally not taking part in the war and the battle down there because he just wants the rest of them to settle the battle for him, and hence they end up being pawns. That's a huge plot twist because we thought this guy was a good guy. Meanwhile, the battles on the ground, oh man, I don't think we've seen anything like this in a while. You know, we're always used to Sentai whenever they slash the villains, usually sparks just come out all the time. Here we have something that looks like blood, but it's not blood. I don't know what is that substance, but basically it looks pretty wow, you know, kind of flashy. The slashes look good, the stunt work is good. It looks like a real battlefield. You gotta check it out because the camera is moving in the battle and a lot of the dynamics and the stunts look just, it looks fresh, it looks different. Now back to the castle, we learned that this king is a good for nothing king. You know, he wants to sacrifice his people, and Giri just loses his shit. You know, he just gets angry, charges forward, takes that sword from the king. He declares basically that he's going to be a rebel king. He aims his sword towards him and declares his independence, and he charges out. He morphs. He's given the ability to morph into the red King-ohger. And at this moment, King-ohger Robo, or the Mecha, comes back to life in the middle of the square and transforms into none other than the King-ohger itself. And I gotta say, guys, the visuals of King-ohger transforming, it looks detailed, it looks intrinsic. It really brought me back in time, you know, to a time when CGI looked pretty good for Sentai and the details of the mecha were so intricate. It looked really awesome, and when the whole thing formed together, holy crap, man, that is one awesome mecha. So the mecha fights against the big bad of the day, which happens to be some kind of foot soldier that grows up inside. The mecha battles are, you know, it's very reminiscent of real soldiers mecha, fast moving but also having a bit of weight to it. Everything about it is just awesome. You definitely just have to just watch it to see it and believe it for yourself. After the Megazord battle is done, it does its Hisasu Waza, his final attack, and destroys the monster of the day. And Giri comes back on the ground and is surrounded by the soldiers of King Reckless, who threatens him for treason. That's the word I'm looking for, treason. Yeah, so treason. And in the end, it's to be continued for next week. We get a small little preview and glimpse of what's going to happen, that where Giri is somehow in the blue King-ohger's, you know, city, and could it be that he's trying to recruit all these guys one by one organically to finally join the team together and eventually take down King Reckless and Ragnarok. So overall, just gotta say from the beginning, the CGI with the LED technique, I know that they did utilize this technology a bit in Dawn Brothers with the Megazord fights, but here it's really fully implemented. I don't think there is a scene where they were acting outside, but for the most part, everything looks high budget, you know, it looks like it's taking place in a different world. As I've talked before in my previous video about the King-ohger suits, in motion look amazing. It's nothing like we've seen in Sentai before. They have these armor pads that are very reminiscent of the 1995 Mighty Morphin suits, and the stunt work and the way that they were fighting, very stylized, much more like knights but with more agility, and everybody has their own persona and fighting style. Of course, story-wise, I mean, it's something different, definitely. You know, Kingdom likes a Game of Thrones like setting where they're all different entities, where they're all not working together at the beginning. There are some serious undertones. There's no wacky humor over here. I mean, you could see how angry Giri was when the king, by the way, that's a pretty dark plot, where the king was actually trying to decimate his own people in order to gain something out of it. Damn, this is pretty dark shit. This is a bit funny, but some of the music is very reminiscent of a very popular Capcom game. But the music is very symphonic. It's very grand, you know, and it really suits the theme of this show. I really like the music as well. Personally, for me, I'm looking forward to hear the full, clean version of the opening song. I'm looking forward to see more Megazord battles. So, I mean, are the surroundings going to be more Final Fantasy-like? Or medieval? I mean, this thing has got me hooked, and I thought I was just going to just wait till a few episodes and just watch it in one go, but now, based on this one, I gotta watch it every week. So guys, tell me who's your favorite King-ohger, because I'm Team Papillon from episode 1 till the end. Put your things in the comments below. I want to hear more about what you guys think after you watch the episode, of course, and we'll catch you next time on episode 2. Catch you guys next time, Sidsiders. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you all. See you guys.